Epic Games made a huge mistake in Season 4, and the entire community agrees. And there is one big reason why Epic is really close to killing this game. We'll talk about that in a second. First, we need to go back in time. That's right, we're going back to Chapter 1, and it all started with the Infinity Blade. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some OP weapons before this point, like the P90 and the combat shotgun, but what I really want to focus on here is the Infinity Blade. This was the first time that the community agreed it was way too OP. Before this point, it wasn't such a big issue if some of the weapons were overpowered, and players didn't really care that much. But after a couple incidents involving the Infinity Blade being in tournaments, the pro players and the casual players were outraged at this. That was the first time players really got mad at weapons being OP in Fortnite. Then came one of the most infamous vehicles of all time, the mechs. And everybody, I mean everybody, hated these things. If you saw one of these things on the map, you pretty much knew you were toast. And there was just no way to counter it, and players got so mad at this, it probably caused a lot of people to quit. The community absolutely hated these things, and Epic eventually removed them, but unfortunately it had already left its mark on the game. Fast forward a couple seasons, and you find yourself in Chapter 2, Season 4, the Marvel season. Now, this season was known for the awesome collabs and the tons of mythics that Epic included in the season. But this time, the community really didn't seem to mind if a mythic was slightly overpowered. They just had fun with it. It was nothing super game-breaking like the mechs, and players were just having fun with it. So there was no issues here, and everything was going great until Chapter 5, Season 3, when Epic decided to give cars a butt ton of health and machine guns, the ability to one-shot people by running them over, and even cars that regenerated their health. And people absolutely hated this. It was possibly almost as hated as the mechs, but not quite. Epic still had even more problems than that, but we'll talk about that in a second. We need to talk about Chapter 5, Season 4, Ultimate Doom. Now, this season started off really hot, and a lot of people were enjoying it, but there was a couple problems. Number one, they had War Machine's Arsenal, which was one of the most OP weapons that Epic had ever added. And believe it or not, you didn't have to defeat a boss to get this, it was a floor loot item. This was basically the mechs, but handheld, you never run out of rockets, your ammo is seemingly endless, and each rocket deals 25 damage, which is super OP, and the community instantly calls for these to be nerfed, and Epic does it. But this is where the big problem is. Okay, let's say there's an imaginary line. It's the perfect line for player bases, okay? It's the line where you get weapons that work well with each other, that aren't too OP, but are just fun enough to use. Now, Epic normally releases weapons that go above this line, and people call out for them to be nerfed. Eventually, the weapons get nerfed and go below the line. Fortnite is fun because it has fun and interesting weapons, but Epic can't seem to find this perfect line, and they always nerf it a little bit too much, and then people stop using the new weapons. Nobody really wants to use them because they're not fun and they're not even useful. And yes, I get it, it is hard for Epic to make these changes, but I feel like most of the time they nerf the stuff that doesn't need to be nerfed, and then they don't nerf the stuff that does need to be nerfed. And I will say Epic has been doing a better job this season because they have officially nerfed the War Machine's Arsenal, which still is a little bit OP, but now is actually viable as a fun weapon and a good weapon. They didn't nerf it into the ground, which is what I was expecting. Epic really did go from starting off weapons OP to nerfing everything in the ground, to now almost finding that happy medium. And they're doing such a good job this season that honestly this season could be one of the best seasons we've ever had. If you guys did enjoy my breakdown of this, then please hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out a lot, and I would really appreciate it. Also, I always stream on Saturdays, so if you guys want to check that out, that would be cool. And there it is. Epic has finally fixed the big mistake that they made in Season 4. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.